BBC Radio Northampton.
Now, to a story that's been in the news very much for the past month or so, and, well, I think one of the most tragic that we've heard recently. There aren't many worse things in life than the death of a child, even less their murder. This was 16-year-old Brianna Jai, who was killed in a Cheshire park in February of last year. 2 weeks ago, her killers, Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe, were sentenced to at least 22 and 20 years in jail, respectively. Earlier this week, a vigil was held in Warrington to mark a year since Brianna's death, and her mum, Esther Jai, paid tribute to her daughter.
I really didn't think that I was going to be able to come on stage today, but after seeing all of Brianna's really brave, lovely friends come on and do that for her, I thought I'd better push myself as well. So as you've all heard, Brianna was an amazing, unique and joyful teenager. I will be forever thankful that I was lucky enough to spend 16 years with her. She taught me so much and gave me so much happiness and love. If there's one piece of advice that I can give to any parent, it would be to hug your children tight and never stop telling them that you love them. I want to thank you all for coming here today to pay respect to Brianna. I hope that wherever she is now, that she can feel the love that we've created by joining together today. Thank you.
She is, quite an incredible woman, Esther Jai, Brianna's mum, and from the tragedy, she's trying to find something positive. Peace and Mind UK is a not-for-profit organisation, wants to fund a mindfulness teacher in every school in the UK, and this weekend a benefit show is being held to raise money for it. One of the hosts happens to be from here in Northamptonshire, transgender as well. Paris Munro is also a breakfast radio presenter, actually, so before we both went on air, we chatted about their childhood in the county and why getting the message of tolerance to children in schools is so important.
A friend of mine, Jackson Feely, trans activist and just all-round amazing icon, was doing this benefit concert to raise money for Peace of Mind for Esther's charity. And this really hit home for me because, one, I am trans myself. I grew up in Northampton and moved to Manchester to explore university. And with this concert, one thing that I wish that I had growing up in Northampton, in the schools, was having somebody to help me understand, and empathise with other kids. And this would have absolutely helped me growing up, understanding my gender identity and sexuality as well. I think knowledge is power, and with this, I think it's an amazing campaign because it started off in Warrington, and now Esther Jai, Brianna Jai's mum, is trying to expand this across the whole of the UK to get people to come into schools to help children understand each other, regardless of identity, regardless of mental health. I think this is something so important.
I mean, everyone's been struck by what happened to Brianna. Just so tragic and so awful. But I suppose it did stem from a lack of understanding, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're in school and you're learning about, for example, sex education, you're learning about how to, have a child and learning about protection. Well, nobody really taught us about trying to understand ourselves and going, so this is why I feel this way. This is what dysphoria means. Okay, this is making sense to me now. I had a very big mental battle for years on who was I, why was I feeling this way, why didn't I develop facial hair growing up, and it can be quite scary and you can feel quite alone. So an understanding from yourself for other kids, and if parents as well wanted to learn a bit more about this, I think this is brilliant.
And there's a sense of, it strikes me that you say, you moved to Manchester and, I mean, yes, a lot of people leave Northampton for a bigger city, don't they? But I think, I suppose, specifically with you, it feels like, and I hope that this changes, but it feels like the bigger cities have more understanding.
I feel like with Manchester, it feels like there's a lot of culture. There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of everything. There's something for everyone there. And being from Northampton, don't get me wrong, I love Northampton. It's a very small town, but it's quite hard if you want to accelerate in certain, subjects, and you have to, because it's so small and there's not many opportunities. That's when I thought, right, I'm going to fly the nest and see what's on the other side. And that's why I left Northampton.
Well, this benefit is happening this weekend, isn't it? But hopefully, and like you say, I mean, Esther Jai seems like an incredible woman, doesn't she? But the whole idea of this, and there needs to be a legacy, that this is something that does go across the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, starting with Warrington was amazing, and broadening out to the UK, all kids need help with their mental health, with learning, with understanding each other. It would set them up for a much better future, I feel. So yeah, absolutely. We're doing this for Brianna Jai's legacy, memory. It's been a year since we lost her too soon, and this really does hit home for me, and this is one reason why I thought, I absolutely have to be a part of this, and I wanted to be the person to be involved and make change, because it starts from yourself. If you want to make change, you have to do it first, before you can expect anyone else to.
Well, I hope it goes well, and Abington Street sends its love.
Oh, thank you. I remember Abington Street very well.
Paris Munro, then, who is hosting that event. It's happening up in Manchester at the weekend on Sunday, and you can get tickets. You might know someone who wants to go to that. It's £10. All funds will go to Peace and Mind UK, and that is one of the things that is helping fund this thing that Esther Jai really wants. She wants a mindfulness teacher in every school in the UK, and she's, doing lots of things to try and improve life after the death of Brianna Jai, of Brianna Jai, of Brianna Jai, of Brianna Jai, of Brianna.